here's Brody Brazil.
Well, the MLB Draft is upon us once again, and I wanted to take this time strategically and specifically to share a certain Twitter thread by Jacob Turner, who was drafted, who signed a big contract, and who has a lot to say and share about his experience in reverse, what this was like, what he would do differently, and most importantly, what he wants others, maybe being drafted right now, to know. Jacob now says on his profile at The Sudden Wealth on Twitter, I help athletes and entrepreneurs build and protect wealth. So obviously he's moved on into the financial advising field, but he also shares, my kids don't believe I played Major League Baseball. And that is quite the conundrum to have to convince your own kids, hey, that's me wearing number 50 for the Detroit Tigers at the highest level of baseball. What an honor to make it to that point. Not everybody does. In fact, only a small percentage do. So obviously successful in that realm already in life, but I certainly appreciate what he decided to share here a while back. I was one of the highest paid high school draftees in Major League Baseball history at $5.5 million. I signed at 18, made my big league debut at 20, and was hanging on to my career by 25. What you don't hear about the draft, signing for millions, and professional sports. A thread. Well, actually, he's not saying that part. I'm saying it's a thread because that's what this is. In no particular order, but he has them numbered here. Number 1, you are flying blind. The MLB Draft is like Houdini's black box. You never know what is going to happen. Teams know everything. Agents know pieces, and players know nothing. Now, I agree with that to a large extent, that there is a difference between teams who draft not just 1 or 10 or hundreds of players over the years. They draft thousands of players across all the teams in the league. The experience for teams is very understood. But if you're a player going through this for the very first time, yeah, he's right. You literally know nothing about the process, how to create leverage or take advantage of a situation or opportunity. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of non-understanding from the standpoint of being a player in this process. Now, the agent, the middle people, as all of this goes, they're very important because that's why you need to pair up with an agent who's been through this before, who can explain all of this, who can give you the best opportunities possible. It says here, agents know pieces. Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't know exactly what the teams are doing, but they've got a much better grasp on this process. So just to really understand here that players have no idea what they're getting into, how they're getting into it, the ramifications of what's going on, I would say that's very true. Need to know only. Professional sports equals business first. MLB teams turn into professional stalkers. Keep your circle small. Assume everything you say is public information. I mean, look, that's a very good point for anybody in the public spotlight, whether you're being drafted by a professional sports team or you have a front-facing job. Pretty much anything and everything you say these days could be recorded, easily published, documented, and I'm not even suggesting anything sinister. What if he said something about his own habits or career or approach to baseball that some teams didn't find appealing or intriguing and they pass on him and all of a sudden he's not making as much money or getting the same opportunities? You really just have to be guarded and careful about everything you put out there as it relates to your career, past, present, future. I think that's a wise piece of information, like all the way around, but especially for somebody who is going to be selected by a Major League Baseball team. Need to know only. Keep your circles small. Number 3, leverage is everything. To get paid in the draft, you must craft a story that exudes leverage. Teams negotiate on nostalgia, emotion, and a little boy's dream coming true. To get paid, ignore the noise and create leverage. Isn't that crazy? Like you're playing stats and career alone are seemingly not enough. You have to have a story that comes with it. You have to have a reason why teams should buy into you, invest in you, have you be their next big thing. Leverage is everything. He says to get paid, you must craft a story that exudes leverage. Now, I'd hate to think that anybody is falsifying things or even exaggerating things, but if you and your story are enough, I'm all for it to help you and be an advantage. Number 4, the red carpet lasts 2 days. Draft euphoria will last 48 hours. I went from high schooler to big leaguer to rookie league ball boy in the time it took my first check to clear. So I also understand that the draft, right? A big deal. You get selected. You take some photos. You're on camera. You're on television. You sign some paperwork. What happens next is the real work, the hard work, the competitive work. Maybe some people do get caught up in that red carpet celebratory mode of this and can't actually get back to what they do or move on to what they're supposed to do next. Millions of dollars changes everything and nothing. I got my first check for $1.2 million in 30 days. It changed everything, yet I woke up on day 31 feeling the same. Money is a tool we all need in life, but putting it in the proper perspective is key. And I think that's easier for him in retrospect to say this. I mean, how many of us have ever been handed a check for $1.2 million, right? Definitely not me, probably not you. I can't speak for who you are, where you are, what your experience is, but yeah, it does not happen to a lot of people hardly ever. I think it's easier for him to see this and say this in reverse, right? About receiving a check for that much money, which is like a decade or two of work for some people. It's crazy that amount so quickly, but I think to his point, it does change everything. But the day-to-day parts of life, maybe it does not change. And you could easily blow that $1.2 million if you're not careful about it, if you're not responsible with it. So yeah, large sums of money, something that a kid fresh out of high school is just not really accustomed to cashing a check or depositing a check for $1.2 million. On that note, number 6 here, athletes pay a lot of tax. There is no debate athletes certainly pay their fair share. I paid roughly $2 million to Uncle Sam from my bonus. I think he's talking about that $5.5 million bonus. The contract number shown is a mirage. Cut that by 50%. And you will find reality. And that's something I've obviously been aware of for a very long time, having dealt with athletes. And they talk about this a lot, that, you know, the numbers and figures you see reported, like, they still make a very good amount of money, but it's not exactly what everything appears to be. And depending on where you play and the salary amount and the, you know, income status, all that stuff, it matters for the tax amount, but athletes definitely do pay a lot of tax. I'm not trying to sit here and talk you out of the allure of being a professional athlete. It is rewarding. It is lucrative. But just understand, there are some things, like if you did not expect that tax money to hit you and you committed it to something else and then all of a sudden it's owed to the government, you're in trouble. And on that note, the year one money trap. Year one, money is rolling in and your career will, quote, never end. Just remember, at some point, the playing career ends and so do the big checks. Obviously, this is now coming from a financial advisor type, and it's wise advice, but it's just something that a person in their late teens, early 20s, even mid to late 20s, I'm not sure everybody has the maturity to understand this unless they're being advised the right way by the right team of people around them. Agents, advisors, you name it. Number 8, travel grind. Baseball is nothing like the live golf jet. Oh, I guess that's a big thing now, huh? The minor league travel schedule is intense and features the worst flight times, long bus rides, and motel accommodations. And I'll be honest, I don't know that a majority of minor league baseball is flying from game to game and city to city. I think there's a lot more bus rides than plane flights in the minor league. And let me just say this, the major league travel schedule is intimidating and daunting enough, let alone what minor leaguers go through on an every week basis. Everything is taken down a notch in the quality and the doability, you know, of like, well, hey, play this game tonight. And instead of, you know, flying a 2-hour flight to the next city, you'll be in your hotel late, no big deal. How about playing this game all night, hopping on a bus overnight? Yeah, you're doing an overnight bus ride. that's very difficult to pull off and then perform to your highest ability. I mean, look, it's been done for years and it's being done today and it'll be done in the future. But just to understand that these are the parts that most people can't grasp until it's coming from somebody who's been through it. The travel grind is real, and I realize it's part of the job, and I realize it's still a great job. But at least this right here is the part that you don't see. Number 9, there are no emotions. Imagine doing your job only to hear your boss trying to find a replacement. My, quote, no emotion night came after struggling against my hometown team, the St. Louis Cardinals. A few hours later, after celebrating my family being there, I was sent down to AAA. Yeah. They make business decisions. This is an adult's job. You know, it's a very competitive business. They don't really care. I mean, there are no emotions. I mean, there are emotions. That's the thing. There are tons of emotions. But there are really none that can regularly be displayed. Otherwise, you might pay the penalty for it. And obviously, nobody cares about your emotions. Nobody cares that he got sent down that night after going up against his hometown team and his family there. So to be able to compartmentalize it, move on from it, understand it, maybe not take it personal, all of that is part of the job. Winning trumps everything. Number 10, if you produce, you play, and if you play, you get paid. The fact is, teams do not care how you get it done as long as you are getting it done. The truth is, winning on the field trumps everything. And I mean, it's a results-based business. Professional sports is the greatest job in the world, yet what you see on draft night or SportsCenter Top 10 is just the tip of the iceberg. And that's what I can appreciate about this thread by Mr. Turner. It goes in deep. It spells it all out for you. It makes a lot of sense. It's not trying to say, oh, feel bad for me, or, oh, this is such a difficult or impossible situation. It's just perspective. It's perspective of something that all of us take for granted as we watch all of these athletes, not just in baseball, but basketball, football, hockey, and beyond. And to really understand what level they're at and how difficult this is and how hard it is to be so great over so many years, this gives you a totally new appreciation for it. Hey, you made it here all the way to the end of this video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below if you would. That'll definitely help me out. And don't forget, subscribe here to the channel so that I can definitely see you next time.